We covered races, we joined races, we conducted races.
Ano masasabi mo sa performance nila in their first final?
Oh, maybe somebody can! Is that our cameraman? He's matching him stride for stride! He's run the whole race with that camera on his shoulder! Just incredible!
Good day, everyone. I am Aliyah Biancadillo, your host for today's episode. I am a social media influencer, and for the next hour, we shall be trekking virtually together one of the best mountains to visit for those wanting to hike and trek with friends and families, most especially the beginners. In today's episode, we shall also be sneaking a quick look of the life journeys of our guests whose passion and lives have been spent in creating or providing information to the public in various media platforms. We find this episode so special to Rise Up, Shape Up because we are dedicating this to all Filipinos whose profession, passion, and dedication have evolved around the world of information. In celebration of the World Development Information Day last October 24, naniniwala kami sa Philippine Sports Commission Women in Sports sa kahalagahan ng impormasyon sa pang-araw-araw nating buhay. Tulad nyo, kailangan namin ang patuloy na pagbutihin ang pagpapalaganap ng wasto at naangkop na impormasyon sa pamamagitan ng Rise Up, Shape Up upang magkaroon ng greater awareness sa aming kampanyang maibalik, mai-restore ang physical, mental, emosyonal, at social wellness at fitness state sa mga kababaihang Pilipino. Tunay na mahalaga ang mundo ng impormasyon dahil isa itong mabisang kasangkapan na may malaking kakayahan na magdulot ng kaayusan o kaguluhan. Panoorin natin to.
We are surrounded by order. Over the last 300 years, we've developed amazing new ways to harness energy, and we've used this ability to transform our environment. But all these structures that we see around us are just one type of visible order that we've created here on planet Earth. There's another type of invisible order, every bit as complex, that we're only now beginning to understand. It's something that nature has been harnessing for billions of years, something we call information. The concept of information is a very strange one. It's actually a very difficult idea to get your head round. But in the journey to try and understand it, scientists will discover that information is actually a fundamental part of our universe. Information can be used to create order and structure. information isn't just something humans create. We're beginning to understand that this concept lies at the heart not only of 21st century human society, but also at the heart of the physical world itself. Every bit of information we've ever created, every book, every film, the entire contents of the internet, amounts to pretty much nothing when compared with the information content of nature. And that's because even the most insignificant event contains a spectacular amount of information. Let me show you. Imagine how many bits of information you would need to describe this. The beautiful and intricate interplay of physical laws taking place at scales and time frames that are normally imperceptible to us. But here, you're still only seeing a fraction of the complexity of nature. Imagine the interplay between the trillions upon trillions of atoms. The amount of bits you would need to describe this is almost unimaginable. But what's amazing is that now, thanks to the ideas of Turing and Shannon, we're able to describe, model, and simulate nature in ever greater detail. But this isn't the end of the story. Information, it seems, isn't just a way of describing reality. In the last few years, we've discovered that information is actually an inseparable part of the physical world.
To make or break order, people, and humanity. And we continue to salute our information creators and producers, whatever platforms they use, as we urge them to spread much goodwill and positive mindsets. But before we get down to inspire you of samples of these people, while we trek through the Hala Hala Rizal, let's listen to another kwento of Commissioner Celia Kiram on the history of trekking.
Ang aking ibabahaging kwento sa inyo ngayon ay ang mga nakakawiling kaalaman tungkol sa trekking. Alam niyo ba na ang salitang trek ay hinango mula sa salitang Afrikaans ng South Africa? Noong 1800s, ang karaniwang paraan ng pag-uusap tungkol sa haba ng paglalakbay sa kalupaan ay hindi sa milya, kundi sa mga treks. Ang salitang trekken ay galing naman sa mga Dutch settler ng South Africa nang ibig sabihin ay to march or journey. Ang trekking ay nangangahulugan na isang mahaba at mapaghamong paglalakbay. Ang trekking ay isang paraan ng paglalakad na ang layunin ay paggalugad at pag-enjoy sa tanawin. Nakakabuti rin ito sa pisikal at mental na kalusugan at cardio fitness. Naging kilala bilang isang paraiso ng mga trekker ang Nepal. Nang ang British adventurer na si Bill Tillman ay nakakuha ng pahintulot mula sa nooy hari upang pumunta sa ilang mga treks ng taong 1949. Ginalugad niya ang Kaligandaki Helambu na kilala sa black fossil stones at lugar na may pinakamalalim na bangin sa buong mundo. Ginalugad din niya ang Everest na tinaguri ang pinakamataas na bundok sa buong mundo. Alam niyo ba na ang unang Pinoy na umakyat sa 7 summits ay si Romy Garduse? Si Garduse ay isang scuba dive master, environmentalist, writer, motivational speaker, at IT professional. Nagsimula siya sa pag-akyat sa mga bundok bilang member ng UP Mountaineers noong 1991. Alam niyo ba na ang ating mga kababaihang Pinoy ay patuloy na umaakyat sa ilang mga pinakamatataas na taluktok ng bundok sa buong mundo? Noong May 16, 2007, 3 kababaihang Pinoy ang unang nakarating sa tuktok ng Mount Everest sa Nepal. Sila ay sina Janet Bellarmino, Noelle Wenceslao at Karina Dayondong. Si Janet Bellarmino ay kilala bilang isa sa mga pinakamagaling na motivational speakers sa buong mundo. Si Wenceslao naman ay naglaro sa UP Dragon Boat Team at kasali sa UP Mountaineers. Isa rin siyang miyembro ng Philippine Canoe and Kayak Federation, Women's National Team na sumabak sa mga kompetisyon ng Dragon Boat sa iba't ibang bansa. Si Karina Dayondong naman ay opisyal ng Philippine Coast Guard. Noong 2019, pinarangalan siya ng Conservation Hero Award ng Worldwide Fund for Nature or WWF dahil sa pagpapalaganap sa pangangalaga ng kapaligiran sa kanyang pakikipag-usap sa WWF tungkol sa kanyang pag-akyat sa 7 summits. Pinangalanan din siya bilang isa sa mga most inspiring Pilipinas na ibinigay ng American toy manufacturer Mattel ang gumagawa ng Barbie dolls at ang Philippine distributor nito na Rich Prime Global dahil sa pagbibigay ng inspirasyon sa mga kabataang babae. Diyan nagwawakas ang kwento tungkol sa trekking. Muli, ito ang inyong Commissioner Kiram na walang sawang maghahatid ng kwentong kababaihan, kwento para sa kaalaman at karunungan sa sport.
Thank you, Commissioner Kiram, for the valuable information on the history of trekking. Andito ko ngayon sa paanan ng Susong Dalaga in Halahala, Rizal. Welcome to this beautiful trek site for beginners. Para sa kaalaman ng lahat, ang Halahala ay isang 4th-class municipality ng probinsya ng Rizal. Ayon sa 2020 census, may population nito na 34,000 na katao at itinuguri ang Haven of Natural Bounties dahil tunay na napakaraming magandang mga tanawin sa lugar na to. Nais ko kumatuwan sa hanay ng mga taong nagbibigay ng impormasyon sa publiko. Bilang isang social media influencer, gamit namin ang modernong media para iparating ang mga mensahe sa nakakaraming mga tao. I'm all set for this trek. And to join me on this joy walk, for fitness of body and mind, I would like to introduce to you a colleague in this information and media industry, my buddy for this trek, Renz.
Hi everyone! Hi Aliyah!
Uy, hi! Ready ka na mag-mindful walking?
Oo, actually, kanina pa nga ako naglalakad-lakad dito. I really love the nature.
Uy, wow! Before we start our walk, my colleague here would share with us some important trek and high tips for beginners.
But before that, let's just share some tips to our viewers. So bago tayo magsimula sa ating trekking, unang-una, kailangan i-research natin ang ating pagpupuntahan. Pangalawa, alamin ang mga dapat na dalhin. As much as possible, check the weather. Kasi kailangan alam natin na maganda ang ating weather bago tayo sumabak sa ating pupuntahan na bundok. For essentials, make sure to bring tissue, water, and snack. At as much as possible guys, magdala na rin kayo ng energy drink para if ever na mapagod kayo, meron kayong pang re-energize or refuel for yourself. Para sa inyong mga gamit naman, guys, kailangan dalhin nyo lang ang enough or sapat na damit para sa inyong pagtitrekking. First of all, for me, I would highly recommend if you're gonna wear a long sleeve. Kasi unang-una, it will protect you from the sun. And mamaya, hindi naman natin alam, may mga pwedeng mangyari sa mga paligid natin. And for the pants, guys, actually, pants is good. Pwede rin kayo magsuot ng short. But again, once again, like I told you, this is for safety, to make sure to protect your legs. And guys, make sure wear a comfortable shoes as much as possible to make sure that your ankles are safe. At ayun na nga guys, mas maganda kung isasama nyo ang inyong mga kaibigan, pamilya, or iba pang mga co-workers. Don't ever trek by yourself. Kasi unless you are an experienced trekker. Okay? By the way, once again, always bring flashlight, power bank, unless na para pag nawalan ka ng baterya, ma-charge natin ang ating mga phone. And make sure na when doing hiking, uminom na maraming tubig. Pagkatapos mag-trekking guys, make sure lahat ng inyong mga basura ay inyong ibulsa. And wag na wag kayong puputol ng mga puno or pipitas ng kahit anumang halaman. Make sure guys, respect the nature. And one more thing, if you ever saw animals or outside, please don't disturb them. Let's respect their space. And let's just observe them and enjoy the nature. And most of all, guys, don't ever forget to pray.
Wow, it's great to know those information.
Yes, actually, Aliyah, I heard about mindful walking. You can do this best in greens, forests, anywhere that you can immerse with good nature and breathe in good air. A mindful walk in this place is fantastic as we can excellently clear our minds of clutter and restore our sense of focus. Ayon sa mga pag-aaral, ang pagpapahinga sa nature ay nakakatulong magpasigla ng utak. Taking a break to look at nature can have rejuvenating effect as it frees up our mind from stress and boosts our levels of attention. Mindful walking at least 5 to 10 minutes a day by using all of our senses, sight, hearing, smell, taste, and touch brings awareness to our body and surroundings. With that, Miss Eileen Tupas is sharing us guide to mindful walking.
Mindfulness is really just a way of paying attention to our experience. When we're being mindful, we're paying attention to something that is happening in the present from one moment to the next, and we are paying attention in a kind, receptive, and curious manner, and we're letting go of our usual judgments and assessments and evaluations of what's happening. So when we're practicing mindful walking, we're bringing that attitude of mindfulness into the activity of walking. So as you walk, we're attending, we're paying close attention to the process of walking, and we're paying attention as the experience unfolds from one moment to the next. And we're paying attention in a way where we're letting go of any judgments, any evaluations, any assessments of the experience. So that's pretty much it. In a few moments, we're going to be practicing mindful walking. So right now, as you're standing up, just begin to notice how your weight falls through your feet. How it's distributed across the soles of your feet as you stand. Beginning to notice if your weight is located more towards the balls of your feet. We're noticing if you're putting more of your weight towards the heels, towards the backs of your feet. Perhaps beginning to notice that even if you're just standing, you're not actually completely still. Begin to notice the very tiny movements that are taking place in your toes, in your feet, in your legs, in your thighs. Begin to notice these tiny movements in the body, the result of your muscles actively working just to keep you upright, just to keep you balanced. And we take this for granted, but we forget that it took us a while to learn how to stand when we were very young children. And now, at your own time and at your own pace, begin to walk slowly. Just walk naturally, but just a little slower than usual, so that it's easier for you to pay attention to the act of walking. But as you walk, begin to pay close attention to the process of walking. Notice, for example, how your body moves from one side to the other. Noticing all the muscles that had to contract in concert for us just to take one step after the other. Noticing how our knees bend and then straighten. As your attention deepens, perhaps you can start noticing the sensations that come up into your feet. Expanding your awareness to include your legs, the sensations that are there in your legs as you walk. Expanding your attention even further. Noticing the sensations in your thighs as you walk. Widening the attention even further. Noticing the sensations in your hips and your pelvis as you walk. Expanding even further. Noticing the sensations in the torso, in your shoulders, in your arms as you walk. And then finally, noticing the sensations in your neck, in your head, in your face as you walk.
Not at your best? You may be dehydrated. You need Pocari Sweat. It replaces the electrolytes you've lost and helps you perform at your best. Be at your best with Pocari Sweat. Pocari Sweat.
That was a wonderful mindful walk, Aaliyah, and so refreshing.
And Ren, since our episode for today is a celebration of the people who create and produce information for other people to be educated or entertained, we have invited our favorite sports and features correspondent from CNN Philippines, Miss Pauline Verzosa, to journey us to her beginnings and life story as a woman engaged in media and sport.
Can you share us your beginnings? Something that the public does not know much about. I studied broadcast communication in UP Diliman. That was in 2013. I graduated 2017, and in those 4 years, I really had a dream already of becoming a reporter. So in 2015, that's when I started in sports po, because there was an audition I saw to become a courtside reporter in ABS-CBN Sports. So that's for the UAAP. Nung bata pa lang po ako, actually nanonood na po ako ng UAAP games with my dad. Lasal po kasi siya, so we'd watch Lasal Ateneo games. And every time I would see the courtside report, I was already thinking, wow, parang gusto ko maging ganyan someday. I also wanted to become a courtside. But it happened when I was in third year in college na nga, no? So I saw the audition on Twitter. So I said, why not? Diba, wala namang mawawala. So I went to ABS, I submitted my application, and after that long audition process, we were cut down to just 6 girls, and from there, it all started. But one of the biggest challenges for me nga po noon, it was, I was from UP, but they assigned me po to UE, so University of the East. So dun pa lang po, na-challenge na po ako eh. And, but yeah, I think I just took on that challenge because it's still about reporting naman at the end of the day, diba? You still have a team, and if you really love what you're doing, gagawin mo naman, and you will accept that challenge. So from then po, I had that 1 year with University of the East, and then usually nare-renew yan eh. So after that, kinakabahan kami lahat, but thankfully, fortunately, we were renewed for another year, and after the 2 years, usually 2 years lang po yun magka-courtside eh. And then we got another year kaming apat as insiders naman. So that just also spoke about the trust that ABS Sports had in us, and we're very thankful nakitaan naman po kami ng potential, and they gave us another opportunity to become insiders. So 3 years total po yun sa ABS Sports. And then sakto po after graduation, CNN Philippines, the door to CNN was open for me po. I'm not gonna lie, and I think a lot of girls in my field relate that there are challenges in this male-dominated field. Tanggap naman namin yon that it's mostly males. Pag athletes pa lang, diba, when the sports that we're covering to begin with are already mostly males. Say basketball, football, right? Except for volleyball, that's mas sikat yung mga girls doon. But most of the time, we're always talking to male athletes, to even male management, yung mga boss, mga heads ng teams, right? They usually males. But in our field, I think it's very, I'm very happy naman din because kahit papano, mas marami rin namang babae. If you take a look at each network, we're actually all female reporters. You have Miss Diane Castillejo. She blazed the trail for us, right? Ang tagal na po niya. Talagang institution na po siya sa sports, women in sports. So ABS, you have Mav Gonzalez in GMA, Lynn Olivario, TV5, and me, CNN. So it's nice to see that we're all females. Pero at the end of the day, napapag-usapan nga namin that we still have some challenges such as, syempre, minsan, tingin pa rin ng mga tao, ay babae, wala ka masyado alam sa sports. Okay, they want to focus on your looks, they want to focus on what you're wearing, they think you don't know enough about what you're reporting, what you're saying about the sport itself. Even nagugulat sila kapag, alam mo pala yan, alam mo yung PBA, alam mo yung NBA, or even the national teams, right? So, nakakalungkot na bakit may stereotype na tina-typecast kami as gano'n na porket babae ba kami or we look a certain way, hindi na pwedeng magsalita about sports that way. But I'm very thankful that some media institutions give us the trust, and some fans naman din po, some audiences, they appreciate also seeing women in this field. Some of my takeaways lang po, no. Actually, I was also invited by the US State Department in 2019. It was for a program called Women in Sports Journalism. So imagine I was with 48 other girls from different countries. Lahat po kami sports journalist na babae. So it was very nakaka-proud makita na yung world nagsislowly adapt, no? Yung mas marami na kaming babae dito sa field. But at the same time, they were sharing their challenges at nakarelate na nga rin po ako doon that while we are in this industry, may presence naman po kami. Yung better opportunities Parang sometimes we feel like we're just until this position, 'di ba? It would be nice also to see some girls in higher positions such as management positions or to be a game commentator, to be an anchor. Kadalasan po kasi parang, diba, sideline reporter, you see, or yung sa field, sometimes kulang pa rin po. Parang mas laging may mga, it's a very male-dominated pa rin po until today. And with better opportunities, of course, there should be better pay also for women in this field. So those are just some of the challenges po, no, na we face every, in our time now. But we are very hopeful din naman that there are at the same time there are big strides into this field. So we're talking about women in sports, no, but at the end of the day, it's very happy to see the pagdating din naman sa sports, yung mga athletes rin naman, I'm sure they're also facing the same challenges, 'di ba? Yung mga women athletes natin, they want more exposure, they want to have the same, ano ba 'yon? Parang yung praise, 'di ba? Yung attention, yung ganon. But yun nga, thanks to like Miss Heidelin Diaz, 'di ba, sila Nesty, Yuka Saso, puro babae. So, sana sa sports journalism, sa reporting, media, lahat ng babae rin makaangat sabay-sabay.
How did your engagement and experiences in sporting media shape your character values and who you have become now?
With sports, it's really a way of life. Diba? Ika nga sa mga athletes natin, grabe yung disiplina nila. And the hard work, you see their motivation, and at the end of the day, they're doing it for sports, diba? For what they love. In PSC, yung mga national athletes natin, they do it for flag and country. We also have our professional players, they do it, and they already embraced it as their way of life. So as a person in media covering this field, the sports, na-inspire rin po ako to adapt these mindsets, diba? Minsan naging competitive na nga ako parang yung kapag nagsusulat ka, competitive ka, you wanna get the story out there, gusto mo mauna, you wanna get an exclusive interview. That's how I apply it in my work, right? So I think that's where I got it, because I see na all these athletes are always so motivated. I myself am motivated to do my job every day and to do the best then that I can, because yun nga, sila talagang pagod, and at the end of the day, or in the end, nag-reap yung benefits. So ako rin, motivated rin po ako to do my best, to put in the hard work, to keep learning. Yung training nila sa akin po, practicing. I keep learning and learning, and so that I can also be my best po.
Where is your journey as a sports media practitioner leads you to?
That's a long, long way to go, no. It's very exciting to see what the next few years hold. Pero hopefully, Pauline Verzosa, her journey will be very fulfilling and very inspiring. I hope that after 10 years, I will get to inspire more females in this field, in whether it's future journalists or influencers, communicators, athletes. I just hope that by 10 years, I get to see more of us in this field, and mas maraming babae po ang magkakaroon ng opportunity na gawin nila yung gusto nila, and to see them in great positions where they really want to be. Just to inspire. Pauline Verzosa in 10 years hopes to be an inspiration to everyone in the Philippines.
Thank you very much to another empowered woman in sports, Miss Pauline Verzosa. We have another strong woman. She writes for Cebu Daily News, Philippine Daily Inquirer, and Rappler. Let's welcome Miss Jasmine Payo to walk us through her life story as a woman in sports and media.
Can you share us your beginnings? Something that the public does not know much about.
I got into sports writing on a whim. It's not something that I planned. It's not something that I aspired for. It's not like growing up, hindi yung tipong, ay gusto ko maging sports writer, gusto ko maging sports editor paglaki. Walang ganon. I had none of that. But I've always loved sports. Like I was a sports fan growing up. I grew up in the 90s, so I grew up watching Michael Jordan and the Bulls, and I also love tennis. I enjoyed watching Andre Agassi, Pete Sampras, Steffi Graf. So sport is something like I really enjoyed. I was a fan. It's kind of like a bit of bonding with my brothers because I grew up with two brothers and we love sports. So it's something that we do. But another interest for me is writing. So I've always loved writing. Even as a kid, I like writing on journals. I like writing in school. So those are separate interests for me. Like I like writing and I like sports. And it never occurred to me that I can actually merge those two interests together. It was when I kind of realized that I can actually do both. Like I can merge them both. So, as I said, it happened on a whim because I wanted to join. Because I said I love writing. I wanted to join our school paper, the Gaidon in Ateneo, and I wanted to try out for a school paper. And it just so happened that there were so many people signing up for news, and there were so many people signing up for features, and I thought it would be hard to get in. The competition would be stiff. And then a friend said there were not many people signing up for sports, for the sports section. Hindi lang, ganun. So I thought, but that might be the easiest way for me to get in the school paper kasi it's less competition. Sige, I'll try sports. So it was really on a whim. Like I didn't plan it. So I was thinking I will get into the sports section. Then when I get in the school paper, maybe I'll transfer to news. I'll transfer to feature. And I got in Gaidon in Ateneo. Luckily, I also had good editors and good mentors. And then I decided to say it's something I enjoyed, and it's something that I realized that came naturally for me. So it was really only in college that I realized that I can actually merge both interests, both writing and my love for sports. It was just a passion. Like it was just something I loved doing, watching. I was a fan. That was it. And then it led to a career in sports. So when I graduated, then I got into the Philippine Daily Inquirer. Well, although I didn't start as a sports writer and with Inquirer, I started as an editorial assistant. That was the opening at that time. I was doing proofreading and editorial work for the news section and the law section. And then eventually when they had an opening for the sports section, I tried out for the sports section of the Inquirer and I got in. And then I was given a UAP beat assignment. And then I was there covering for quite a long time. And I was lucky also to have good editors and good mentors because they really gave me an opportunity to shine, good assignments. Like they really trusted me. So there.
How did your engagement and experiences in sporting media shape your character values and who you have become now?
Sports writing, well, sports in general is a male-dominated industry. And although, of course, when I was in the field, I see that sometimes like there are only a few of us females, few sports writers in a press conference or in the press room, or sometimes I'm the only one. I'm the only female. Like all the male journalists are there, but maybe because I've always trusted my skills. I've always had a confidence on what I can deliver, on what I can do. I never felt inferior. So even if I was in a male-dominated industry, I've always felt at par with them. Like I've always had that confidence that I can do it, that I can like sometimes do better than them maybe. so there, and I guess it also helped that my editors, my mentors really trusted me. Like I think one of the problems that some female sports writers experience is that they don't get that support from their bosses. Like they sometimes get assigned to quote unquote minor ones, to like be given good assignments, to be given prime beats. And so I was able to really flourish. And I think that I was confident with my skills to begin with. And I guess it really helped that I had editors and mentors who also trusted me, that they believed that I can do it. So there, I think it's important also to be surrounded by good people, good mentors. And as I said, it never really bothered me to be the only female in a male or in an event, let's say, and being there are only few of us female in this male-dominated industry. It was only later in my career that I really kind of realized that we had an impact, that us females have an impact. Because like when I started, maybe middle of my career, late in my career, when I started doing talks or doing seminars for students, so like I had students and young girls like approaching me or chatting me saying they read my stories growing up, or they had clippings of my stories like that, or they wanted to have a career like me. So it's really inspiring, it's touching. Like you never realize that you become an example for these students, especially for young girls, that they eventually see that a female can do it, like a girl can do it and excel in this field. So that's really one of the things that I learned, that and something that I'm really grateful now that I've been in this industry for over a decade. So it's something that I really appreciate. That you get to inspire different people, especially the young ones. And then one thing I also like in this industry is you get to appreciate the athletes even more, like especially female athletes, because they don't get as recognized as their female counterparts. Like when you're a fan, like I also started as a fan, like it's so easy for us to cheer for them, to cheer for the athletes when they're winning, but when they're losing, you say and stuff. But when you, as a sports writer, when you get to know them, you get to know these athletes, you get to know their life, you really get to appreciate their, not just their talent, but also their passion, dedication for the sport. That it takes really a lot to succeed. Like it's not, they're basically putting their whole life, investing their whole life into this. So it's also one thing that you get to appreciate in the industry. You really appreciate the athletes, the coaches, and the teams more. So there. Oh yes, but, being a sports writer, it's not, of course, an 8 to 5 job, right? It's very, it can be demanding, it can be taxing. So really have to learn to adjust on many levels. Like it's not, you have to be accurate, but at the same time you have to be creative. Like so many things that you have to do. And then so it, especially if you're a female, as I said, you really have to be assertive. Like if you want to do a story, you really have to push for it. Like if you really feel that you can do a story, like why not pitch it to your editor that you can do it, that you feel that you can do that you can accomplish the story. So it's important to be assertive, that you must have that strength really, that to like claim what you think is right and really pursue what you want. So it's important not to be intimidated, as I said.
Where is your journey as a sports media practitioner leads you to?
Well, I'd like to think I've become a better person in this industry, not just a better writer or a better editor. I'd like to think I've become a better person as a whole, because it's an industry where you meet all types of people from all walks of life, and you get to have like a wider understanding, not just of the athletes, but of different people. You get to appreciate a lot of things more. So it has become beyond work. Like sometimes you also have become friends with the athletes or the coaches. Like you get to understand them more, what they go through. So, and at the same, on the other end, you also realize that it's not just work, that you also get to inspire people, especially the students and younger writers, and I said especially girls. I think it's important to be an example for them, because it's important for them to see that a girl can do it, that women in sports can be successful. Right? Even if it's a male-dominated industry, we can flourish. We can do a lot of things. We can do better things. So there. I think those are the things that I really hope I could carry on for a few more years. That to be able to continue excelling in what we do, and at the same time to be able to share my knowledge and some of my experience to the younger ones. And hopefully they do better. I mean, the younger generation should really do better than us. Like, we always have to improve our craft. We always have to improve our skills.
Thank you very much, Miss Jasmine Payo. We have a man this time. He is a film director, scriptwriter, producer, and artist at Lente Multimedia Productions. And he is from this place, Hala Hala. Samahan niyo ako kilalanin si Direk Enzo.
Who is Direk Enzo Manago? Can you share us your beginnings?
Yung bagay, nag-start ako sa paglalaro ng camera sa isang bahay namin sa Manila, sa Tondo. Laking Tondo kasi ako. Doon ko inisip, sabi ko, ano kaya itong bagay na to? Habang nag-aaral ako ng elementary sa public school at nag-aaral naman ako ng high school sa isang pribadong paaralan, doon namulat yung sarili ko na ano ba itong bagay na to na kinababaliwan ng mga tao na pinanonood sa TV, yung pelikulang sinasabi. Sabi ko, magiging artista ako. Ayun pala, hindi ako magiging artista. Laging filmmaker ako sa pagka-graduate ko ng college.
Can you share us your life story as a film director? Films you have directed or have been involved in directing, as well as your challenges and joy of directing a show or a film.
Nag-umpisa ako sa pagiging film director nung nag-aartista ako. Kasi yung nag-aartista ako, hindi naman tayo kagwapuhan, hindi tayo katangkaran, hindi tayo kaputian. Nilait ako ng isang production. Sabi sa akin isang prod, hindi ka magiging artista. Sabi ko, ganun ba? Sabi ko, pero magiging director ako, sinabi ko sa kanya. Sabi ko, pag naging director ako, tatanggalin kita pag napunta ka sa production ko. Yun. 2014, ginawa ko yung kauna-unahang short film na dinirect ko, Untitled Copy of Maria, na nilaban ko sa Talent International Film Festival, and nanalo ako ng first runner-up. Yun, masaya yung pelikula, masaya yung short film kasi napakasimple ng istorya. Sumunod, gumawa ako ng full-length, Untitled Pedophilia, na sinali ko naman sa International Film Festival din. Kaso natalo tayo, hindi pinalad. And then gumastos ako ng marami, yung halaga talaga ng pera, na inutang pa para magawa yung pelikula. Hindi din kumita. Ayun yung struggle nung pelikula, sa paggawa ng pelikula, na hindi lahat ng gagawin mo na pelikula ay tatangkilikin ng tao, bibilin ng tao, papanuurin ng iba, pero hindi kikita. Kumbaga, bumagsak ka, babagsak ka. Pero at that time na ginagawa mo yung pelikula, siya yung parang baby mo, girlfriend mo, nanay mo, asawa mo, kasi nag-i-enjoy kang gawin to. Kahit mahirap, kahit napapagod ka, ngingiti at ngingiti ka, lalo na pag nakikita mo yung mga production mo, yung mga artista mo ngumingiti sa'yo. And then nagkaroon ako ng chance na maging parte ng isang sitcom na One Tamad. Ako yung naging acting director ng isa sa mga cast. Ayun yung naging stepping stone ko na babangon pala ako. Babalik ako sa isang bagay na nagustuhan ko. Yung laging passion ko na gumawa ng pelikula na masasabi kong akin at anak ko. Na kahit hindi nila magustuhan o magustuhan ng iba, para sa akin, ayun yung pinaka-the best at pinaka-masaya.
How did your profession and experiences shape your character and values in life?
Noon, yung typical na Direk Enzo na hindi pa ako director. Tahimik lang ako, may kakulitan, kaharutan. Pero yung nag-i-start na ako dun sa industriyang pinasok ko, unti-unti na bago. Nandun yung magiging matapang ka, in a sense na magiging mabuti ka naman, magiging kwela. Pero tinulungan ako ng industriya ng pelikula at nung mismong gustong-gusto ko na maging director, nabago niya yung lahat. Yung dating takot, yung dating mahiyain, nagkaroon ng tapang. Tapos yung dating matapang, laging mabuti. Kasi yung nag-i-start ako ng pagiging director, ang tawag nila sa akin, DM. Kay Demonyo, dahil salbahe daw ako. Inunti-unti ko yon habang gumagawa ako ng pelikula. Unti-unti kong binago. Yung pagtingin sa akin ng tao, yung character ko na lagi nakasimangot, lagi nakasigaw, pinalitan ko ng character na lagi nakatawa, laging bumabate, laging masaya. Kumbaga, kahit hindi mo ako i-approach kita. Kahit hindi mo ako kakausapin kita. Kahit ayaw mo sa akin, gusto kita. Ganun na ako binago ng sistema ng industriya ng pelikula. Hanggang sa, ayun, kasi sa pagiging director din, minsan, kailangan, yung health din natin, yung katawan natin, naka-shape. Kasi nandun yung time na hindi ka makakatulog. Nandun yung time na puyat kayo, kailangan mong mag-shoot pa rin. Kaya talagang ang laki ng binago din ng industriya na to na yung dating active ka, magiging unactive yung katawan mo dahil gusto mo na lang magpahinga. Kumain, magpahinga. Pero ngayon, nagkaroon ng pagbabago dahil sa nangyari na pandemya, yung COVID, na wala yung ating industriya ng matagal. Medyo tumaba tayo. Kaya ngayon, naisipan ko na magpapayat uli para pagdating neto na magkaroon kami uli ng bagong pelikula, ay perfect yung katawan natin, hindi tayo pagod, hindi tayo mukhang stress, kahit stress yung mukha natin sa pelikula. Sabi nga, ang laki ng binigay na pagbabago sa akin, sa character ko, sa profession ko ng industriya ng pelikula.
Thank you very much, Direct Enzo. Your place, Hala Hala, is indeed beautiful. Time is up for this week's Rise Up, Shape Up episode. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube and follow us on Facebook account. Thank you everyone for your support. Rise Up, Shape Up is brought to you by the Philippine Sports Commission, Women in Sports. Again, this is your host, Aliyah. Have a marvelous day, everyone.
Rise up and shape up.